Alright boys, in this video we're going to be talking about the reason why brown guys can't gain muscle. Now the reason why myself, I can speak from experience on this topic. I only started gaining muscle properly, like I knew exactly what I had to do and what I was doing from the minute I started lifting weights. But I only started implementing the knowledge that I had about 7 years after I started gaining muscle. Now there's a few reasons behind this, but one of the reasons was I was going to the gym, I was working out, I was hitting the weights of course, but I wasn't hitting the weights mindfully. Like I wasn't going to the gym and picturing myself that, okay, I'm going to hit a PR every single workout. If I didn't think that, I wouldn't really properly focus on the workout. I wouldn't do my best. I'm ashamed to say it, but I literally wasn't doing my best. And the thing is, I only realized this in retrospect. So every single workout since then, and especially recently, because I'm doing a bit of a different split, I mindfully go to the gym, and when I'm working out, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna basically try and get a PR on every exercise. And I wasn't doing this for a very long time. If I felt strong and someone was pushing me, then maybe I could hit a PR, I could do a 1 rep max on a certain exercise. But the reason I was gaining muscle, or the reason why I wasn't gaining muscle as quickly as I would have, or I would have liked to, was simply because I wasn't going hard in the gym. I wasn't progressively overloading. And the way they started was, at the beginning when you start going to the gym, you go to the gym mindfully. You're like, I'm going to the gym today, I'm going to hit, say you're hitting back, you hit back and you hit your biceps, and because you're quite new to the gym, it's a new stimulus for you. You hit everything mindfully, you know exactly what you're doing, you're aware of what you're doing, you have this like inspiration, this motivation. And say after about a few months or a couple of years or whatever, you lose that kind of spark. And because you've been disciplined enough, which is a good thing of course, you've been disciplined enough to go to the gym. When you go to the gym, it's habit, it's routine. You do what you've always done, and you don't do the things mindfully, like you're not aware of what you're doing. If I could give you one advice, go to the gym, hit the weights, always progressively overload, which is obviously go harder than last time, but always do the exercises, the workouts mindfully. And the thing is, it's a mental thing, and it will also help you make more gains. Because when I started doing the exercises mindfully, for example, when I was hitting, I believe it was a lat pull down a couple of days ago. I was hitting lat pull down, and I was just going really hard. And I was watching this video a couple of days ago. I think it was of Arnold, or it was whoever it was of, and I was just watching him, and I'm like, you know what, next time when I do my lat pull down, I'll basically picture myself as this guy working out the same muscles, because he was quite lean at the time. Whoever the guy was, he was quite lean, and I'm like, you know, when I hit my lat pull down, I want to be focusing on this muscle. I want to get a big massive pump in my mid back, in my make it basically in my lats. So when you go to the gym, make sure you hit the muscles mindfully. Make sure you always focus on progressive overload, because even right now, if you're someone who's watching this video, I know you haven't been focusing on progressive overload for a while. If you have, it's probably because you went to the gym and you felt strong, because you had a big meal, you had a lot of rest, something of that nature. Now the next thing, and one of the other reasons which brown guys cannot gain muscle, is simply because brown people, as a people, we don't eat enough protein, and we haven't been eating enough protein for a very long time, maybe centuries. Now I say we don't eat enough protein because me, myself, my friends, my family, people that I know, people that I've grown up with, people even older than me, even my parents, grandparents, brown people, they just tend to not eat a lot of protein. And it's because brown people are I always say this, but brown people are brainwashed into not eating protein. They have meat a couple of times a week, and that's enough. But you cannot get the right amount of protein in, even from when you're a kid all the way up to an adult, because as you get older, as you get taller, as you get heavier, your needs for protein increases in the body. And especially if you want to build muscle, because you need to have not a surplus, but you need to be having enough protein to build muscle, to recover, and have that foundation and that building block to build the muscle. Now brown guys, because they're not eating enough animal protein, they're not eating enough eggs, they're not eating enough steak, red meat, eggs, protein shakes, and because of this, they literally do not have the foundation to build the muscle. And you can see this from an early stage, because when they're growing up, a lot of brown guys, because they're not having enough protein, they have this ugly, skinny, fat body. I had this for a very, very long time. And it wasn't as though I wasn't training too. I started training in about 2013, 2014. So when I first started gaining muscle, because I was quite skinny, I looked all right. But around like 2015, 2016, I thought, you know what, I need to start eating a little bit more, I want to bulk up a bit. Ever since then, I had this skinny fat body. Even when I leaned down, it was simply because I went through this idea of going through a bulk, but I wasn't eating enough protein. So this excess carbohydrates I was having, because I wasn't having a lot of protein, my excess calories were coming from carbohydrates. And because of that, you just develop this ugly body, man. Ugly body, like skinny arms, like man boob chest, pot belly, very low muscle mass. Of course, if you flex in the mirror, then you think to yourself, you know what, I am quite muscular, I do look quite good. But in reality, you actually do not look good whatsoever. So you need to start having, and every single brown guy needs to start having more protein. Especially, you need to make a concerted effort, because if you're someone who's not used to having protein right now, and say you start having a lot of protein, you might think to yourself, you know what, I'm having too much, like I'm always full. So just be wary and be mindful of this, and just have more protein, man. And once I started doing this, I basically went through a recomposition after 7 or 8 years of training, because any guy, any brown guy, any guys for that matter, you can go through a recomposition if you're not like 0.1% of the population who has an extremely optimized training routine, extremely optimized diet. Even like pro bodybuilders, they can go through a recomposition if they introduce new stimuluses, new diets, which is more optimized for their body and for their goals. So if you're a brown guy and you can't gain muscle, it's simply because you're not having enough protein and you're not going hard in the gym. Those are literally the two stimuluses which you need to gain muscle. Now there's other things too, but like, you know, cardio, things of that nature, but realistically they will not affect your muscle gaining if you're gaining enough protein and you're going hard in the gym. And another thing which I need to mention, if you're going hard in the gym and you might be like, you know, Ismail, how many sets, how many reps do I need to do? Even though I go hard and I might not be doing enough volume, you need to be doing about 10 to 20 sets per body part per week. And that will be ideal for most people. From 20 to 30 sets, you can get a little bit more gains, but 10 to 20 for most people is ideal, because 20 to 30 you have to do a lot of sets, a lot of reps, maybe extra time in the gym, which you might not want to do, and which might even deter you, because some people, they actually get deterred from going to the gym a lot. They're like, you know, I'm not going to the gym, not spending a couple of hours, 2 hours of my time. And you know what, it's completely fair, but they don't have to do that 10 to 20 sets per body part per week, and it's absolutely fine. Now, if you want a more structured routine, a nutrition guide, a proper training routine, which something which I've created, something which I use, and you want other things like accountability, sleep, supplement advice, things of that nature, especially if you're a brown guy as well, then join my free school community. The link will be in the description below, the first one. Click on that. Thank you.